Sorry. Yesterday I said that that day's video was delayed until I had finished the comic that I was reading, and I didn't mean one issue. I meant somewhere around 20, and I finished it. I call it was Final Crisis. Let me sit up. Ugh. So this is what everything came to from Seven Soldiers to now. Because excuse that sound in the background, you can hear it's like some air freshener thing. So now that I've read Final Crisis, what was the connection between Seven Soldiers and this? Because I can't think of it. Like 52, I understand because there's a lot of connections between 52 and Countdown, and then Countdown, that was the prequel to Final Crisis. That's all connected. The only thing I can think of is possibly the fact that a character from Seven Soldiers appears briefly in Countdown, and that's it. But everyone says, oh, you need to read Seven Soldiers to fully understand Final Crisis. And also, I forgot that I'm talking about Countdown, as if I've mentioned it before. I kept Countdown secret. Like, that Countdown is what I read after 52. Because what it was, the 52 week series. Then after that, they made Countdown, which that was 51 issues going backwards. And it was weekly as well, but it didn't go over a week in the DC universe. It was just something that they released a week, and like could take one issue could take place a month after another, or it could take place immediately after the last one. You don't know. I kept that secret because that's just part of Final Crisis. I wouldn't really consider it its own thing, and people hated Countdown. I don't see why. I really like Countdown. The only problem that I had with it is that they forced that connection between everyone. Like, at some point, all the characters get teleported to Apocalypse. And it makes sense for everyone bar the Pied Piper. And then they revealed later on, the Pied Piper, I think, what was it, he can use his flute for the anti-life equation. And then they never did anything with that fact. That's the only problem I had with it. The fact that they forced the Pied Piper there, just so that they could do something, or set up something, and then that setup goes nowhere. That was my only problem with it. So, the way that it all worked was that you read like half a Countdown, or maybe half. We'll say half a Countdown. Then you had Countdown Arena, which was Monarch, who is now Captain Atom, because they planned for Captain Atom to be Monarch in Armageddon, but then someone leaked it, so they're like, we still want it to be a surprise, so we're not going to make Captain Atom anymore. We'll make it Hawk, even though he's the one character that cannot be Monarch. So they made a Captain Atom, and I don't know when they did that. That's possibly Captain Atom Armageddon. I don't know. That went nowhere. So you had Countdown, where it was multiple monitors now, which they somewhat explained that, but I'm not going to get into that. Monarch wants to kill all of them. I think it's because they tried to kill him because these monitors are trying to just erase anachronisms, and they don't want multiversal travel and all that. He Countdown, which was like, he picked up Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman from every universe and put them against each other, and whoever survives joins his army, and then went nowhere to that. Then you read like the third quarter of it, and you got like the Search of Ray Palmer, which that was, I enjoyed it, but that wasn't really necessary. It was just, let's go to this universe where Superman's a communist. Oh, he's not here. Let's go to the universe where they're all vampires. Oh, he's not here. And then that series went nowhere because they don't actually find Ray Palmer in the Search for Ray Palmer. They find Ray Palmer in the main Countdown issues. Then after that, I think you finish the series and you get Lord Havoc and the Extremists, which that picks up from something that happens in Countdown briefly. And that was just, stuff happens and the main characters eventually join Monarch. You had a Countdown 2 Adventure, which that was continuing the story from 52 with Starfire, Animal Man, and Adam Strange. Countdown the Mystery, where they reveal a new Dr. Fate, and they also sort of continue the story of the Spectre and Eclipso from Infinite Crisis. But that had no connection to Final Crisis. A lot of this has no relation to Final Crisis. Then you had Death and the New Gods, which I don't really understand that. And Salvation Run, which was, I think that was the one where they got all the villains and put them on a different universe, and they're like, do whatever you want. It's perfectly safe here, except it wasn't perfectly safe. And then they split up in the factions and they went to war. And then Parademons came. So then you actually get in the Final Crisis itself. I mentioned that I was reading a Batman story. That Batman story was Batman R.I.P. And I thought what that was that Batman story where he supposedly dies but ends up back in time. But no, that actually, him dying is at the end of Final Crisis. And then, I don't know about him going back in time and all that. So, now that I've read Final Crisis, I couldn't actually tell you what the fucking plot of Final Crisis was. It starts off like this new god has been murdered. The Green Lanterns go to investigate. There's something called the Dark Side Club. That's two different words, and side is spelled correctly. And there's a guy called Boss Dark Side. Guess who it is? And then there's a guy called Steppenwolf, which is spelled exactly the same as Steppenwolf. And it turns out to be Steppenwolf. They do criminal things like regular gangster stuff, not like dark side stuff. And then you have a spin-off where Superman fights the Dark Monitor. I've something called Mandrake. I don't know what the Dark Monitor is actually supposed to be like. The Anti-Monitor, I get that that's the Monitor from the Dark Universe. And I know you have the Dark Multiverse and all that comes in Dark Knights. I haven't got to that yet. I'm a long time away from that, so I'm getting that yet. So I understand the Anti-Monitor. What's the difference between the Anti-Monitor and the Dark Monitor? So, like, he's the actual bad guy. No, Darkseid's the actual bad guy. Who's the main bad guy? We don't know. Because Grant just puts stuff on the page. And, he throws shit on the wall, sees what sticks. Despite my criticism, I still enjoyed it, but it's not. Like, I saw some guys like, oh, wasn't done my fourth reading of this. I was like, this is actually alright. I'm not going to read it 4 times or anything like that. I enjoyed it, but it's just, So, there was another comic I was going to go on to that is not a crisis. But it is something that I've downloaded on my iPad, because that's what all this has been, just me getting these books done. I downloaded it on my iPad accidentally, nearly 2 years ago. But the event is quite big. In fact, if you exclude 7 Soldiers, 52, Countdown, all that, this event is actually bigger than Final Crisis, like nearly half as or twice as big. And then that event has a sequel, which is even longer. I'm not going to do all that yet. So I've moved on to the next thing. And what I'll say about the next thing is that it's the New 52. But I'm not going to explain how I'm going to go forward with the New 52 until the next New 52 review, which is only about 2 books away. Anyway. The Sandman. Universally positive ratings, Netflix original series I watched on Netflix. Boyd Holbrook sounds familiar. Jenna Coleman, Gwendolyn Christie, David Thewlis. I don't think Patton Oswalt is on it. Stephen Fry, Charles Dance. Mark Hamill. Arthur Darvill. Sanjeev Mashkar. Asim Chowdhury sounds familiar. Can't think of what he's in though. It's surprisingly good. And this is coming from someone who's not a fan of the comics. I fucking hated the comics. I still don't know who this guy is. Can I please get the option to pause this? Treason mixed ratings, Netflix original series I watched on Netflix. Charlie Cox. Olga Kurenko. Alex Kingston. It's good. Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Or as I'm going to call it, Monster. I would call it Dahmer, but they've renewed this. And season 2 is going to focus on the Menendez brothers. So what are they going to call it? Menendez Monster, the Menendez brothers story. People just call it Dahmer. But I'm just going to call it Monster. Anyway, mixed ratings, Netflix original series. I watch it on Netflix. Forget it. Evan Peters. Nancy Nash. Molly Ringwald. I didn't like it, to be honest. The Recruit mixed ratings, Netflix original series. I watch on Netflix. Nathan Fillion. It's good. I didn't expect it to be a comedy. Also, something I should mention is that I constantly get this show mixed up with The Night Agent and Treason. I don't know why. I just seen something that they've released that Netflix have made recently. That is, I thought this was supposed to be a thriller. Same way Treason is, and I'm pretty sure that The Night Agent is. I don't know if you've seen The Night Agent. Anyway, if I haven't already said it, this is good.